Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this rapid review of the Shark Ion Robot Vacuum R85, model RV850BRN. As I always do, I'm going to start off with a real quick unboxing to show everyone what to expect when this arrives from Amazon, and then I will very expediently move into the review portion of this video. I'm going to place a link to this exact product in the description below. This is an Amazon link for which I will receive a small commission if used. Of course, it does not cost the buyer anything additional, but does help the channel. Use of this link is greatly appreciated. Right from Amazon, the Ion R85 ships in a relatively plain brown box. We've got some basic black lettering and diagrams, and that's about it. Removing the entire contents at once, the very first thing we see is an idiot-proof setup guide. These are great for me because they allow me to get going with whatever new product I just purchased without messing something up or having to go through the horrors of reading a manual. Basic steps include setting up the charging dock, installing side brushes, charging the Ion robot, and then prepping your home for cleaning. The last part ends up being relatively important, as the Shark Ion R85's Achilles heel is small stuff like weight scales or power cords. Moving on, we've got the instruction manual that will never see the light of day, and then finally, the robot itself. Initial build quality impressions are just okay. It doesn't feel cheap or flimsy, nor does it feel all that robust. Grabbing a tape measure, and I find the unit is 12.5 inches in diameter. Next up, we'll install the brushes, a quick reference back to the idiot-proof guide, and we see they just click into place. No tools needed. Left in the box is the boundary strip and the charging dock. Unfortunately, that strip ended up being off camera. Just know that it feels quite weighty and has no trouble laying flat. Sadly, there is no adhesive on it, so if you plan on installing it somewhere semi-permanently, you'll have to find another solution. The dock itself feels extremely cheap, just some thin molded plastic with a couple of spring-loaded charging contacts. Moving on to setup, and all that is required is to plug in the charging dock and place it flat side against the wall. Before charging the unit, a little sticker that protects the power switch needs to be removed and the unit turned on. I'm assuming this is there so it doesn't accidentally get switched on during transport. I bought this particular model because it was on sale via Black Friday for just $199 and because it was compatible with Alexa and supports scheduling. The Quick Start Guide recommends charging for 3 hours before use. While I was waiting it out, I went ahead and set up the app and connected it to Alexa. Downloading the Shark Ion Robot app, the first thing we see is that it's really well reviewed. The next thing we see after installation is a really annoying screen that requires one to create an account to proceed. I just hate that. It isn't enough to a company that you bought their product, now you're forced to send them your email address to fully use it? Total shit. Past the annoying fact one must create an account, the app works pretty well. In order to set up the Shark Ion Robot R85, one must first enter pairing in the app, then press the dock and max buttons at the same time. Doing this enables the robot's Wi-Fi to create an ad hoc network one must connect to via a phone. After doing so, re-enter the app and finish setting up with your own local network information. As much as I like YouTube, I'm going to do this off screen as I'm not quite comfortable sharing my network password with the entire world just yet. Next up is setting up the Alexa skill. Here, we see this ability is not very well reviewed. That said, I found it to be quite easy to use and pretty simple. The only big complaint I have here is the fact that individual robots can't be named. Uttering the phrase, "Alexa, tell Shark to start cleaning," will cause the Ion R85 to begin its routine. Likewise, saying, "Alexa, tell Shark to send the robot back to its dock," will send it home. This leaves one really obvious question. What happens if you have more than one unit? Worth noting is this problem only exists when controlling with Alexa. Individual units can be renamed in the Shark app and thus individually controlled. Here is a brief demonstration of how well the unit responds when controlled by voice. Alexa, tell Shark to start cleaning.
Alright, your robot has started cleaning.
Now, some skill reviewers pointed out that one must speak very clearly for the robot to respond. I did not really find this to be the case, though there were a few times Alexa started telling me about an actual shark instead of controlling the vacuum. Once underway, the Shark Ion Robot vacuum has a completely random cleaning pattern. It looks like a really drunk person trying to find its way around an unfamiliar bar. Apparently, this model sports Smart Sensor Navigation 2.0. I'm terrified to know how aimless Smart Sensor 1.0 would be. All that said, I think the obstacle sensors work very well. I had worried that the front bumper would need to be fully depressed in order to halt the unit, thus things like a dog bed that might not be heavy enough would end up just getting pushed around. I'm glad to report that's not the case. The unit will sense an object with very little pressure. Alexa, tell Shark to start cleaning.
Alright, your robot has started cleaning.
Noise levels are quite good. As we can see here, it's reading in the mid-60s on the decibel meter. I would have no problem cooking in the kitchen or doing some other chore with the Shark Ion Robot R85 right next to me. For reference, a quiet room is about 52 decibels and loud conversation is in the low 70s. Switching between quiet, normal, and max modes does produce small differences in audible volume, but not much. I'll likely just leave it on normal, as that tends to do a good enough job without over-draining the battery. Speaking of which, I have yet to find the limits of this. I ran it for about a half hour off of full charge, yet it was only down to about half power after that. Though considering lithium-ion battery meters are notoriously inaccurate, and they don't always drain linearly, I wouldn't then assume it could run for an hour. Might be more, might be less. I really don't know. Now, on to the most important question. How does it clean? I would honestly say very well. It has plenty of power to pick up things like pet hair and random crumbs or dirt particles. What impressed me the most was the fact that when I emptied the dustbin, there was actually a piece of broken glass in there, I'm assuming from under my sofa. Taking a look at the full dustbin, and we can see an embarrassingly high amount of dirt and debris. So, I think that about covers all the basics. To recap, I think the build quality is just okay. The app and Alexa skill both work very well, but I find the fact that one needs to create an account to be really annoying. Cleaning quality is very good, as is noise level. However, the cleaning pattern is completely random. I would prefer it to keep better track of where it's been, instead of repeatedly cleaning the same spot over and over while ignoring others. For me, this is my first robot vacuum and I'm overall impressed. I wasn't sure if this was going to be some gimmick or a legitimately useful tool. After a couple days of ownership, I believe it will be the latter. It certainly won't replace my full-size upright, and it's useless on stairs, but for the daily pickup of light stuff like dog hair, it's just great. And that will about do her for today. If you found any of this useful, a like, share, or sub is appreciated. If not, hit that thumbs down button. Alright, and thanks for watching.